Good morning, everyone. Um, from the MSG Bible, Matthew's Matthew 25 and 40, it reads, Then the king will say, I'm telling a solemn truth. Whenever you did one of these things to someone overlooked or ignored, that was me. You did it to me. Hmm. Um, if we can overlook or ignore anybody, this Bible verse says it's the same as us doing it to God. King James Bible, 1 John 4:20 to 21 reads, If a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen? And this commandment have we from him, that he who loveth God love his brother also. For those of us who say we know God, the way that we demonstrate that we actually do know God is to provide his love and attention to everyone else. It's just the way it is. For the past few weeks, I've been talking about how when we associate with God, that there's a way we need to conduct. There's a way we have to conduct ourselves in our reactions to one another, This week, my mind was just focused on an older lesson that I did back in June of 2024. No matter how much I tried to pull away from it, I couldn't. My thoughts just stayed on it. So my intentions this week was to replay that old lesson and post that for the hearer, my listeners. But God laid it on my heart to actually reteach it again. So here for today's topic is the overlooked and ignored Job's wife. My goodness. Our mission statement is that obscured people need God's attention also. So let's read from the MSG Bible. I'm going to read from Job 1. I'm going to read from the 1st to the 5th verse. And it reads, Job was a man who lived in Uz. He was honest inside and out, a man of his word, who was totally devoted to God and hated evil with a passion. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He was also very wealthy, 7,000 head of sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 teams of oxen, 500 donkeys, and a huge staff of servants, the most influential man in all the East. His sons used to take turns hosting parties in their homes, always inviting their 3 sisters to join them in the merrymaking. When the parties were over, Job would get up early in the morning and sacrifice a burnt offering for each of his children, thinking maybe one of them sinned by defying God inwardly. Job made a habit of this sacrificial atonement just in case they'd sinned. Now, in this beautiful introduction, Job's character, his sons and daughters, his livestock, and his wealth are acknowledged.
Yeah.
Even the merriment of his children is brought into light. Job 1 and 3 tells how they enjoy spending time with each other weekly. Absent here is any mention whatsoever of Job's wife. If you read through the entire book of Job, you will not find any reference whatsoever to her character, the type of person she is, what she likes or dislikes. She is invisible to the writers. They don't care about her feelings or care about her in any way in this introduction. Now I'm going to read a little bit more here. MSG Bible still. This is Job 1, 13 to 19. And it reads, sometime later, while Job's children was having one of their parties at the home of the older son, a messenger came to Job and said, the oxen are plowing and were plowing, and the donkeys grazing in the field next to us when Sabaeans attacked. They stole the animals and killed the field hands. I'm the only one to get out alive and tell you what happened. While he was still talking, another message arrived and said, bolts of lightning struck the sheep and shepherds and fried them, burnt them to a crisp. And I'm the only one to get out alive to tell you what happened. While he was still talking, another messenger arrived and said, Chaldeans coming from 3 directions raided the camels and massacred the camel drivers. I'm the only one to get out alive to tell you what happened. While he was still talking, another messenger arrived and said, your children were having a party at the home of the oldest brother when a tornado swept in off the desert and struck the house. It collapsed on the young people and they died. I'm the only one to get out alive to tell you what happened. Job 1, 13 to 19 tells you how in one day, and it's constant to say, while he was talking, another servant came in. So this is one after another. Job loses everything that he has. And to me, I don't know about you, El, but I can't fathom what he is going through at this moment. It's one issue after another. God. You know, this isn't in my lesson, but we get some things that hit us head on. And it rocks us because it's big things. But this is one thing after another. No, as soon as the one servant tells him something, the next one is waiting in line. Oh my goodness, his properties are gone. All of his servants are killed. All of his livestock has been taken. But worst of all, his beloved children are dead. And I'm sitting there thinking about Job trying to put together, how many graves am I actually digging here? Oh my goodness. What's going to account for all this loss? Now, Job's response is in verses 20 to 22. And let's read that in the King James Bible. Job 1, 20 to 22 read, then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head. Mantle is a jacket that you wear. So he put on this jacket, he shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped. and said, naked I came out of my mother's womb, and naked I shall return hither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this, Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Now, this lesson is not talking anything against Job. Job is to be commended for his response, because you know he's hurting from all the loss. It talks about how he sacrificed to God for his beloved children just in case they did something wrong. And then in one instance, they're all dead. There are few negative things you can ever say about Job and his character. He is just how this book describes him, a good man. My goodness, there's nothing you can say negatively about Job. Let's read on a little bit here. In the MSG Bible, Job 2, verses 6 to 8, and it reads, God said, all right, go ahead. You can do what you like with him, but mind you, don't kill him. Satan left God and struck Job with terrible sores. Job was ulcers and scabs from head to foot. They itched and oozed so badly that he took a piece of broken pottery to scrape himself, then went and sat on a trash heap among the ashes. So now, after the loss of everything that Job had, the death of his children, servants, livestock, all this is gone. Job himself is now under attack. His body begins to break down. He is suffering excruciating pain so badly that he takes a piece of broken clay from a pot, from a vase or a pot, a piece of pottery, and he starts scraping sores off of his body. He lies there in agony. And through all this time, finally, you hear from his wife. MSG Bible, Job 2, verses 9 to 10. And it reads, his wife said, still holding on to your precious integrity, are you? Curse God and be done with it. He told her, you're talking like an empty-headed fool. We take the good days from God. Why not also the bad days? Not once through all this did Job sin. He said nothing against God. Job lectured his wife in verse 10 and says, you speak as one of the foolish women speaking. That's the ESV Bible version. Job's wife's voice. After that, Job's wife's voice is never heard again. Never heard again. In any reference, in any Bible scripture, in any form, her voice is never heard again. Now, on the surface, Job's wife's personality and her name are unknown. And to billions of Bible students and scholars, she is historically known only as Job's wife. She is not identified in any other way. Now, 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 even though she is invisible as the writers pen this story of Job, one can't help but notice that in reality, this is a mother and wife who loses everything. She also loses all her land and property. Good God. All the servants that were killed were her servants as well. But the most notable disregard here is that a mother loses 7 sons and 3 daughters, and nobody takes the time to document how she feels. Good God Almighty. To me, now this is just to me, she is one of the most misunderstood characters in the Bible. God, she is suffering from great loss in her life. And while she is in mourning, her husband, which all she got left, good God, is all she has left. Her husband's body and his health starts to go downward, start taking a turn. She can see it coming. Good God. He is afflicted. And my question is how is she dealing with all the loss? Good. No one seems to care. God. But where the misunderstanding really comes into play is when her only words that you get from her, which she ever speaks, denigrate her personality. It characterizes her as an evil, unthankful, thoughtless woman, and she has to live to be judged for the rest of her life. And then some by Bible studies, scholars and teachers and students. God, as you know, as that kind of a person. That's all they talk about her is. Goodness. All these years, she has been unnoticed, invisible. God. So what am I talking about today? What am I talking about? There are those people who some may consider insignificant. Their voices don't matter. Their feelings aren't taken into consideration. And to some people, this is acceptable. None of that in the book of Job should have been acceptable. Some mention should have been, God, something. They could have even thrown it as a Job had a wife. It lists those first 5 verses, it lists everything he has except for his wife. She is so invisible. God, so minimalized. It's as though nothing cares about her. And for some reason, folk think that's all right. It's acceptable. I want to tell you today that this story, the story of Job, is written by humans. It's inspired by godly intentions, but it's written by humans. And for whatever the reason is, the story of Job is directed towards him and how he feels. But I want to tell you today, God is not like humans. God cares about everybody, everyone. There is no person who is invisible to God. We may try to hide them. The writers may try to push them aside. Religious people may try to bury them. Those of us who say we're somebody may try to cover them. God. But there is no person that's invisible to God. Believe me, God sees them. David writes in Psalm 139, verse 7 to 10, he talks about, where can I go where I'm actually hidden from God? And he comes to this conclusion, no matter where I am, whether I'm buried under dirt or whether I'm hidden in the clouds, God sees me. And I want to tell you today, it's not just David, but God sees every person. So those of us who say we are God's people, we should never consider anyone invisible or insignificant. You know, El, I think that's a lot of the issues that we have today. Some feel that what concerns them is important. No other culture or people matter. It's all about me and my way, myself. Whatever I want is the only significant thing in life. And what some of us try to do is attribute that same feeling from God. They try to teach that God cares about me only. Goodness. God has mercy for just me. Oh my goodness. God's grace is only for my mistakes. And we try to define God's character as that, but it is not that. Oh my goodness. No person is more important than another in God's eyes. We all deserve what he has done for us. Goodness. And the funny thing about salvation, grace, and mercy is that it is extended to every living thing, not just you and not just me. God, my goodness. Now, earlier I said no one knew Job's wife's actual name. In some other readings, when you study it, they say that they believe that the mother of Job's first 10 children, who were all killed, that her name was Sitis, Sitis. And I wanted to point that out to let you know that if you want to know something about folk, and you search hard enough, you can find something about folk. Goodness. You can find information on who people are. Right. You just need to want to. For all these years, nobody wanted to. They just accepted the fact that it's Job's wife. The unnamed lady. Good God. Goodness, my goodness, my goodness. That's a lot of what was going on today is nobody wants to know who that other person is. God, who's that poor guy? I don't care. My goodness. Who's that person that looks different than me? Oh, they don't matter. My goodness. And if we settle and say that those people are insignificant or invisible, then what we do is capture them at their worst moments and we assign them this characteristic, God, for the rest of their existence. And as you see with Job's wife, even then some, long after they're dead. You remember that family back there? They all did this. And you talk about these folk as though they're insignificant. My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. I often think when I study Job's wife, and this is me personally, What if and this is not in my lesson, but El, you know me for so long, and there's a lot of imperfection. I'm not perfect, and I've made mistakes. You know, I mess things up sometimes. All the years, even after I know God, goodness, I messed some things up. And when I study Job's wife, I think about this and I said, what if I were judged only by the worst moment I ever had in my entire life? God. What if nobody even cared to see what I did another day? Oh my God. What if nobody ever took notice of when I did something good? Mm, 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 mm. I want you to know today that you are more than your worst moment. Goodness. You are more than the worst thing you've ever. Oh my God. You have other days that you lived, and you are more to God than your worst moment. God does not stop seeing us. God. Just like Job's wife, God not only saw her that day, but he saw her every day of her life. Her pain and sorrow, her tears, her mourning, all the days of her life leading up to her death. Only the writers saw fit not to see her. But that does not say God. God is not like that. In the end, when Job has more children, because the end of the book where he gets his wealth back and he has more children. This is even a different wife. This is a wife thought to be Dinah, one of the daughters of Jacob. So this woman Sittis was not a part of the intro in Job 1. Nowhere in this book does it talk about who she is. She didn't even live to see the reward at the end. Her only reference is there during her bad moment. She is only mentioned as the woman who Job called a babbler, or he told her to talk like a foolish woman. Oh my goodness. My God, my God, my God. See, I think we only come together as a society when we start considering the feelings and place that other people are in. Hezekiah Walker has a song entitled I Need You to Survive. Mm-hmm. That song says, I pray for you. Mm-hmm. And in turn, you pray for me. I love you and I need you to survive. It means that I have a strong desire for you to make it. And if you also have a strong desire for me to make it, then together we will all survive. Let us make sure we don't make others feel as though they are overlooked and ignored. Because I want to tell you today, God sees them, and God says we ought to see them too. Thank you for hearing me. My goodness. I pray that we all start seeing one another. I'll talk to you again.